What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another lesson. My name is Adam, and today we're going to be going over hand technique. So this is the technique lesson to end all technique lessons. We're going to go over the four major techniques, and those are going to be the wrist method, which is like an American matched grip. We're going to go over the finger methods, which you see a lot of gospel players using. We're going to go over the push-pull method, which is an interesting one that Jojo Mayer has covered really well before. And we're also going to go over the Molar Method in a little bit more of a modern way that it can be used. Using your wrist is an excellent way to blend together power and speed. What we're going to do is we're going to have the sticks in our hand really loosely. And the way I teach this to my students is I say you have to think about it like you're holding a bird. If you caught a bird out in the wild, you wouldn't squeeze it because you would just kill it, or hurt it at least. And you wouldn't hold it too loose because it would just fly away. So your grip needs to be somewhere in the middle. The fulcrum, or the pivot point, really needs to be about a third of the way up the stick. On Vic Firth, for me, it's just about just past the American flag and right around where the H is in Firth. You're going to have your thumbs facing slightly towards each other, and you're going to have a very loose grip with the focus of that grip being on your pointer finger and your thumb pinching here with a little bit of wood sticking out the bottom. You don't want to completely wrap around and hug the drumstick. You're going to lift up by your wrist. And a good way to test this is to go ahead and put a drumstick across your forearm. If you see that drumstick move, you know you're using your elbow and you're moving your forearm up with it. So we want to isolate the wrist only. And we're going to have this motion come up, and then we're going to drop the stick down with just our wrist. So remember, our elbow and the joint of our elbow shouldn't move at all. Now what's going to happen naturally is there's going to be a rebound from this stick. The rebound is going to be very dependent on where you're holding the drumstick. If you're holding way too far back, you're not going to have much rebound at all. If you're holding way too, choked up on the stick, not going to have much rebound either. So what we want to do is make sure our fulcrum is right. This is a good way to test the amount of rebound that we're going to have. And you want to hold loosely enough where you allow that stick to come back up and allow it to rebound. Let's take a closer look at the wrist method from the side, and keep in mind that you need to hold loosely, you need to allow rebound, and that your fulcrum, or your point of pivot, should be between your first finger and your thumb. The fundamental idea is that your fulcrum is the same as it is in your wrist method. Your point of pivot is really going to be between your first finger and your thumb, with a little bit of wood exposed on the bottom side. And what you're going to do is essentially pull the drumstick with your fingers up towards the palm of your hand. And that's going to create the actual pivot of the drumstick. Now, because you have smaller muscles in your hand than compared to your forearm, they're going to be a little bit faster. That's the general rule, is the smaller muscles in your arms and hands are the faster ones, but the larger ones are more powerful. And think of it, if we were to swing a drumstick like a baseball bat, it probably wouldn't be nearly as fast as our wrist would be, but it would be a lot more powerful. So as you need more power, you tend to go up your arm. As you need less power and more speed, you tend to go down your arm. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to pull the drumsticks with one finger at a time towards our palm. So we're going to start with our middle finger only. So notice that my ring finger and my pinky, I'm going to stick downwards just for the sake of this exercise so you can see. So my middle finger only is the one pulling the stick towards my palm. Now I'm going to add in my ring finger. So now my ring finger and my middle finger only are pulling the drumstick towards my palm. And then I'm going to add in my pinky. I would recommend doing an 8 count of each one of these, and we're going to go over that exercise from a side view now. All right, so now we're going to go back to wrist method for a second. We're going to talk about the Molar Method. Now, the Molar Method normally is applied with 3 strokes. You have your downstroke and then 2 upstrokes. But in more modern applications, I see this done and I use it a lot with just 2 strokes. So there's your downstroke and then your upstroke. And you'll see this a lot in 16th notes played on a hi-hat. If you had a hi-hat groove sounded something like this. So if you notice, my right hand is really doing a Molar Method using only 2 strokes. So we're going to have a normal wrist stroke coming down, regular stroke, and we're not going to allow a full rebound. We're going to allow about a half rebound. So we're not coming all the way back up. We're coming partially up. And then what we're going to do is, as we're resetting our hand to pull up and whip down again, we're going to allow a tap. Now, if you pay attention to my shoulder and elbow, you'll see one fluid motion. Now, I'm exaggerating that, of course. You don't want to be that exaggerated when you're actually playing the Molar Method. So where this Molar Method is helpful when it comes down to just notes with one hand, it's helpful when you need to alternate accents and ghost notes back and forth between notes on one single hand. So if we were playing 16th notes and we needed 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to be accented, but all the E's and A's to be quiet, this would be an excellent technique to use. All right, so now we're going to tackle a much more difficult one. This is the push-pull method. Jojo Mayer has a DVD where he explains this better than I ever could. But for the sake of having everything in one video, I'm going to try and cover the push-pull method. So this is a really, really cool method, and it's best used for when you have a diddle of any kind or 2 notes on the same hand, so say a right-right or a left-left, and you need the second note of that diddle to be accented. So if you need a right-right, the push-pull method is going to be your best friend. The way this essentially works is it's 2 motions, the push and the pull. And there's a few different other names for this you might see, but I call it push-pull. So what we're going to do is extend our hand from a closed sort of fist position. Again, we're going to go over this from this side. From a closed sort of fist position, you're going to sort of roll your fingers out in a downward motion. I'll do it here so you can see it on the black. So you're going to come straight down like this. And the stick is actually going to roll slightly inwards. As you turn, the stick is going to rotate this way. And as it rotates, you're going to extend your fingers all the way down so it'll come to the end of your fingers. You're going to grip this with your first finger, and your second finger will assist as well. So you're going to extend just like this. Now when you get to the very, very bottom, your hand should be completely open. You should have nothing wrapped around the drumstick. It should simply be pinched vertically like that. So all your fingers should be pointed down. Your thumb, first finger, second finger, everything should be pointed downward. Now, what this is going to allow the stick to do is rebound almost to a vertical position. And this is the hardest part to get down, is the actual push and allowing the drumstick to come back up to nearly a vertical position. So when you're practicing this, you should practice it in 2 parts. The push and then the pull, and practice those separately at first. You'll find that the push is much, much harder than the pull. The pull is very, very easy. So for the push, you really need to spend a couple days doing just this if you're not familiar with this exercise. Extending all your fingers straight down, keeping everything vertically, your whole hand, allowing your wrist to drop with your fingers, and letting the stick come into a vertical position. Now when it's in the vertical position, here's the easy part. This is the pull, You're going to take your fingers, which should all be extended, something like this, and you're going to simply pull. And that's going to be your second stroke. Now this is the easy one to get an accent from. So let's do it really, really quick. We'll do a couple of slow ones, and I'm going to accent the second note using the pull. All right, let's take a look at this one from a closer view on a side angle. Thanks so much for watching this, guys. I hope this helps you with some of your technique. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section of this video, and check out my website at orlandodrummer.com. Thanks, guys.